I think we're live. I'm hoping you could hear me. It's a beautiful Saturday morning, and the sun is out. It's going to be warm today, probably around 80. But if you can, go out and enjoy the day. But in the meantime, let's get ready for real estate with Mr. G. Okay, so we're live right now. You saw my little introduction, and we're getting ready to start the show. Just make sure everything is okay, no interruptions. I have a new Samsung Watch 3, and it rings and beeps on everything. And then we got a Ring doorbell, and that rings all the time. It's driving me nuts. All this technology. Uh, it's a bit much, but there's good things about it, and then what can I say? All right, so we're getting ready for our show, and I'm just looking at my other computer screen. I'm coming in nice and loud, so that's good. So I know that the sound is good. So let's okay. It looks like I'm coming in also on my blog page. So had some trouble with that for it streaming there, but it looks like it's streaming there too. So that's good. So again, like I said, it's a gorgeous day, and I actually my producer Leonard Potapkin is out by the by Buckrow Beach by the farmers market, and that's correct, right, Leonard? You're at the farmers market.
Yes, Chris. I am at Buckrow Beach at the farmers market. There are only 2 Saturdays left, today and next Saturday, October 31st. Come down for fresh fruits and vegetables, coffee, food, refreshments, and much, much more. Then sit on the beach and get a tan before winter kicks in. Back in Latvia, I could never get a tan like this in late fall. I would be freezing my babushka off. I am having a great time even without borscht.
Okay, that's great, Leonard. That's great that you're out there. So again, it's this Saturday, next Sunday, out at the Buckrow Beach Farmers Market. I've gotten beautiful squash there, tomatoes, cucumbers. It's nice, and other local merchants are there. There's a vendor there. They're actually from, I think they originated from William and Mary. They partnered up and they made the beautiful, wonderful coffee. And there's always usually a food truck out there. So go outside and social distance, be out in the fresh air, wear your mask, and enjoy that and have a good time. So let's talk about let's bring up the matters that we're going to talk about. I'm actually getting feedback from my phone. I just want to kind of I think I'm actually getting it from here. All right, hold on for a second. Okay. All right. We're going to talk again about mortgages. And last week, we talked about different types of mortgages and also the down payments that goes along with them. They vary, whatever program. you going with. And today we're going to talk about what to avoid once you apply for that mortgage. Okay. Now, before we go even in deeply into that matter, I always bring up in all my live streams that this is the biggest well, I don't want to call it stumbling block, but the biggest task that you have to go over when you have decided to purchase a home. And I get in many leads, many people who they're gung-ho, they want to buy, they see that interest rates are down. They no longer, if they're renters, they no longer want to pay rent. This is all good news, but they're not pre-qualified. And then I send them out contact information to call these mortgage loan officers who I've worked for in the past, and they're very, very good. They're professional. They're very, very courteous, because I think I have a lot of people have a fear that, if your credit is bad, they're going to blow up. They're not going to do that. But you can't delay on this. And again, I say that almost on every session. You cannot delay on being pre-qualified. You can't say, all right, let me look around first, and then when I see my dream house, I'll go to the loan officer and start doing the paperwork. No. Because not all times, but there will be these instances that you're not eligible yet to apply for a mortgage. So it could be you have some large balances you need to pay down. You had some late payments, whatever, you're behind on a card, on a loan, whatever the situation is. And it needs time to be corrected. Sometimes errors are corrected within a month's time, within 4 weeks, they're done. Some take a little bit longer, some take 2 to 3 months. And then sometimes they take up to a year. But even if it goes up to a year, at least you have a plan. And your mortgage officer could give you that plan. They know what lines to pay down first when you have extra cash. And by certain amounts, and they could say, if you do this, your credit score will go up 20 points or 30 points, whatever. A lot of people say, I'll do it on my own. And, you could, but it's good to get good advice. You might be paying down some cards that don't report as quickly to the credit agencies. So you want to pay down first. And this is just one example. If you can, you pay down a credit line that reports very quickly to the bureaus, and they could quickly change your score. So these are the ones that you should go towards to pay down, and your loan officer knows that. All right. So I recommend, and they don't charge a fee for this. There's no fee for this. Some people think, well, how much is this going to be? No. Years ago, there used to be, these, well, there's still credit counseling companies out there, and they'll try to work. Usually you're paying them, for instance, if you're trying to negotiate over the credit. So let's say you were in default, and let's say you owe 1,000, and you could say, they tried to say, can we pay it off with 500? And you say it's free and clear, it's paid off. That service you may pay for, because they're actually now writing letters, or they're calling credit card companies in your favor for doing this. Okay. But a lot of this you could do on your own. You could call them up and say, hey, I had some financial problems. I want to get rid of this debt. Would you take 50 cents on the dollar? Would you take 70 cents on the dollar? And you could do it. All right. But the advice that my loan officers give is free of charge, because what they want you to get that credit rating that they need to get you a mortgage, and that's how they make their money. Okay, so don't put it off. Don't make it the last thing you do. You got to do it first, and no one is going to ridicule you, or make you feel embarrassed if you don't have the best credit in town. Okay, so I was going to show my little whiteboard first, but let's. A video came out this week that I tailored, and that talks about things to avoid after you apply for a mortgage. So let me show that first, and then we'll go into it step by step. Okay, now let's put that up on our Blackboard. Make it nice and detailed. I taught for 21 plus years, and so some habits is hard to break. So here's my chalkboard of what we're going to discuss today. Reasons why you can't and why you shouldn't. So we're going to go through it step by step to make it easier. So the first thing we're going to show here, and it's down here to the left, no large deposits into bank account. And I should, well, between cash and checks. Now, you might ask why? Why do we have to not have these large money deposits going in? Well, as you're being pre-qualified, they're going to look at several bank statements, and they'll see, let's say, on a regular basis, on a monthly basis, let's say you have your employee check deposit to your account. So let's say every 2 weeks they see $1,000, and maybe there's a couple of other small deposits, but then all of a sudden, if let's say you put in $500 in cash into your account while while this process is going on, and I'm talking about from the point when you apply for the mortgage, and then usually you have about 30 to 45 days to close, okay, depending on your situation. I'm talking about this time period. Now, just to talk about what matters matters why we're talking about this, because right before closing, right after that 30 days or 45 days, the bank is going to, or your mortgage company is going to double check everything. And they're going to look at your bank accounts. They're going to look at your credit accounts. All right. Again. So there's like a double check right before closing. Now, if all of a sudden they see this large deposit going in, they have to question that. And why? Because when you buy a house, you have to have a certain amount of your income or your savings account vested towards that purchase. They want to make sure that you can really afford this help and you don't need, you could afford this house and do not need extra help, okay, that you're actually getting on your own. So if all of a sudden a large deposit goes in and they might think, hey, they might need help for closing costs, maybe, you know, this purchase is too big for them. You don't want to raise any flags, and that's the reason. Okay. Now, there are things called gifts. Let's say you needed money for a down payment. You can be gifted that money. All right. And there has to be a gift letter for that. Okay. So if a parent is doing it, an aunt or uncle, they write you a gift letter. Now, the key word is the word gift, because gift means you don't have to pay it back. Right? It's a gift. And even if, let's say, this cash deposit was given to you to help pay for closing costs, the bank does not know if that's actually a loan you have to pay back. And now your debt to a loan ratio goes up. All right. So that's not a good thing. They need that letter. If someone's trying to help you out with closing costs or with a down payment, you need a gift letter, because then they know, all right, he doesn't have to, or he or she does not have to pay that back. So it's not like a added debt or credit line to the applicant. So that's the reason why. So if you have money coming in that you want to deposit, speak to your loan officer first, the best way to handle it. They need to know what's going in there that's, you know, out of the ordinary. Okay. So that's the reason for that. And by the way, some of these are tricky. If you have more questions on it, I have so many things going on. If you're leaving me comments, if I don't get it now, I'll answer them afterwards. But, you know, it sounds tricky. Why can't I put more money in my account? Well, that's the reason why. Okay. You don't want to raise any red flags. So the next one is no large purchases, for example, cars or furniture. And this is, in this one, we're talking about cash. All right. Because we're going to talk about large purchases on credit, but this is no large purchase, car, furniture, cash, because what happens at the closing, you're going to have closing costs. In today's climate, we really have a seller's market. And prior to this market, we usually could get the seller to pay for the buyer's closing costs, which is usually about 3% to 3.5% of the purchase price of the house. Now, just a side note, if the house is $100,000 less, you actually need about 4.5%. I don't want to go into that completely into it that now for the reason why, but you would need more in that example. But if you're looking for a house, 150,000 upward, 3 to 3.5% should cover it. But in this type of market, the sellers really don't have to do that. Or maybe instead of giving you the 3%, they might give you 2%, they might give you 1%. And you need cash at closing. So you want to make sure that you have money in the bank. And remember, the bank still wants to see you vested, to be liquid in this purchase. So no big outlays of money during this 35 to 45-day waiting period, or let me say 30 to 45-day waiting period to close. Don't buy anything big. And this example is on cash. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Don't co-sign for a loan for anybody else. And, you might have a son or daughter, they want to buy a car, they need help. You have to tell them, we got to wait 30 days. I just can't do it now. Why? Because even co-signing for a loan, you're responsible for that loan. So that goes on your credit report. Okay. Because the reason why there's a whole form that you fill out that you're co-signing for a loan is that as soon as the original applicant on that application, that car loan or or whatever that they're purchasing, once you sign that form, they could go directly to you, the first month that was not paid. They don't have to wait 3 months. They don't have to wait 6 months. They don't have to wait for a court order or whatever. They could go right away to you after the first month of a missed payment, and you're responsible for it. Okay. So if they default on it, it goes to you and you got to pay for it. It's your car loan, whatever. So don't co-sign. I know it seems a little mean, but say, Sonny, daughter, I got to wait another 30 days before I help you out with this. Okay. Don't change bank accounts because, again, this raises a lot more questions while you're doing this. They want to, when I say they, the banks, the mortgage companies want to see, a pattern of your deposits. Usually they'll ask for 6 months records or statements looking at your bank accounts. This is a big, wow, why are they doing this? I mean, why are they completely changing their bank accounts? Don't do that. And I very rarely hear this happening. And it came up, in the video, in a blog post that I did. And it just, it puts out too many questions. What people mostly do, they'll buy large items that we're going to talk about next. But avoid doing that. Don't change bank accounts. If for some reason you have to, within this time period, speak to your loan officer. Okay. All right. The next one, it's the last two things are really don't apply for new credit. So while you're waiting to close, don't add on any more credit, because then you are possibility of adding more debt to yourself within that time period, and they don't want to see that. If you look great on the day that you were pre-qualified for a mortgage, keep it that way. Don't add anything else to it. And by the way, going back up to here, because I see, let me just add to this with a large purchase, car and furniture, either cash and or on a loan. Don't take out a car loan. Don't take out a furniture store loan. All right. It could be either with cash. You need that cash for closing. And when it comes to these large purchases, do not take out additional credit to buy these things. Wait, to your closing is done, and that's done with. All right. If you have to buy anything in addition. And this is something, I mean, very innocently, some people say, hey, I'm getting a new house. I'm going to go and I'm going to buy all my furniture now. Wait on doing that. Okay. If you have enough cash where you could buy furniture and you know what your closing costs are, okay, I'm going to say most likely you could do it then, but still always speak to your mortgage loan officer. And the last one here, don't close any charge accounts, especially if they don't have a zero balance, because now the bank is going to look at it, when they recheck the credit right before closing. They said, well, this person is closing them. Maybe, maybe they are having some financial difficulties. Maybe, they're making sure that they can't charge anymore, and they, are afraid they might just go over the limit, and they can't make their monthly mortgage payment. May not be true at all. Okay, you might just say, "Hey, I don't want all this credit. I'm going to close it." Just wait until after your closing, okay? Because again, this raises more red flags. All right? You don't want to do that. You don't want to bring any suspicion into the loan officer, or at this point, it's at the underwriters. And the underwriters are the ones who are checking everything in great detail, right? They're crossing the T's, they're dotting the I's, and you don't want to raise any questions. And again, all of this may be very, very innocent. There's nothing wrong, but just hold off if you can. If you can't, speak to your loan officer. All right, so that's what we wanted to discuss today. I would say that from my experiences and experiences with other agents who we've talked about this, that comes up a lot. The biggest thing that comes up is then all of a sudden, in that waiting period to close, they bought something big, either a car or a big screen TV, or they bought a motorcycle, and now their debt to loan ratio has gone up, and now there may be a problem. May not be a problem, but there may be a problem. So you want to avoid those large purchases, and don't co-sign for anybody else during that time period. Just a little side note, a personal thing, if it's something like if someone needs help with buying a car, it's better to loan them the money or give them the money as a gift if they need to make a more of a down payment on the car to get a lower monthly payment on a car loan. It's better to do that than to co-sign for that loan, because if they take out a 5-year, some car loans are even more than that, you're responsible for that loan for that amount of time. So there are a lot of financial people who are totally against co-signing loans. If you want to help a person, give them cash. Then hopefully you get paid back. But whatever. And that's just that's what I've read. You do what you think is right, but during this time period of waiting to close, don't co-sign. Okay. All right. So that basically wraps up today's show. I really did it in about 30 minutes, but I see. I think I've put up everything that I wanted to do. Let me just see. I think Leonard is calling out to me again, and okay, hold on for a second. Is he calling out to me? Hold on. I'll just talk a little bit more here. Okay, I thought we're having to get out. With the COVID and everything, it's been difficult to get. Sometimes communications gets a little messed up. All right, I think I got him now. So, are you calling out to me, Leonard?
Chris, we have a famous celebrity in the audience. He was an American actor and comedian best known for his portrayal of a lovable drunken nightclub performances in television programs such as The Dean Martin Show. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Foster Brooks.
Wow. It was real nice seeing Mr. Foster Brooks again. I hope he's doing well and he's taking care of his alcoholic situation. If you can, go down to the Buckroll Beach Farmers Market today. It's just this Saturday and next. And in the meantime, be well, wear your mask, keep 6 feet away, wash your hands, and we'll see you next week on the world famous Real Estate with Mr. G.